Be it so, for I submit. His doom is fair, that dust I am and shall to dust return. A welcome hour whenever. Why delays his hand to execute what his decree fixed on this day? Why do I overlive? Why am I mocked with death and lengthened out to deathless pain? How gladly would I meet mortality my sentence, and be earth insensible. How glad would lay me down as in my mother's lap. There I should rest and sleep secure. His dreadful voice no more would thunder in my ears. No fear of worse to me and to my offspring would torment me with cruel expectation. Yet one doubt pursues me still, lest all I cannot die, lest that pure breath of life, the spirit of man which God inspired, cannot together perish with this corporeal clod. Then in the grave, or in some other dismal place, who knows but I shall die a living death? O thought horrid, if true! Yet why? It was but breath of life that sinned. What dies but what had life and sin? The body properly had neither. All of me then shall die. Let this appease the doubt, since human reach no further knows. For though the Lord of all be infinite, is his wrath also? Be it, man is not so, but mortal doomed. How can he exercise wrath without end on man, whom death must end? Can he make deathless death? That were to make strange contradiction, which to God himself impossible is held, as argument of weakness, not of power. Will he draw out for anger's sake, finite to infinite, and punished man to satisfy his rigor, satisfied never? That were to extend his sentence beyond dust and nature's law, by which all causes else, according still to the reception of their matter, act, not to the extent of their own sphere. But say that death be not one stroke, as I supposed, bereaving sense, but endless misery from this day onward, which I feel begun both in me and without me, and so last to perpetuity. Ay me, that fear comes thundering back with dreadful revolution on my defenseless head. Both death and I am found eternal, and incorporate both. Nor I on my part single, in me all posterity stands cursed. Fair patrimony that I must leave ye sons, or were I able to waste it all myself and leave ye none. So disinherited, how would you bless me now your curse? Ay, why should all mankind for one man's fault thus guiltless be condemned, it guiltless? But from me what can proceed but all corrupt, both mind and will depraved, not to do only, but to will the same with me? How can they then acquitted stand in sight of God? Him after all disputes forced I absolve, all my evasions vain, and reasonings, though through mazes, lead me still but to my own conviction. First and last on me, me only, as the source and spring of all corruption, all the blame lights due. So might the wrath, fond wish, couldst thou support that burden, heavier than the earth to bear, than all the world much heavier, though divided with that bad woman. Thus what thou desirest and what thou fearest alike destroys all hope of refuge, and concludes thee miserable beyond all past example and future. To Satan only like both crime and doom. O conscience, into what abyss of fears and horrors hast thou driven me, out of which I find no way, from deep to deeper plunged? Thus Adam to himself lamented loud through the still night, not now as ere man fell, wholesome and cool and mild, but with black air accompanied, with damps and dreadful gloom, which to his evil conscience represented all things with double terror. On the ground outstretched he lay, on the cold ground, and oft cursed his creation. Death is oft accused of tardy execution, since denounced the day of his offence. Why comes not death, said he, with one thrice acceptable stroke to end me? Shall truth fail to keep her word, justice divine not hasten to be just? But death comes not at call, justice divine mends not her slowest pace for prayers or cries. O woods, O fountains, hillocks, dales, and bowers, with other echo late I taught your shades to answer, and resound far other song. Whom thus afflicted, when sad Eve beheld, desolate where she sat, approaching nigh, soft words to his fierce passion she essayed, but her with stern regard he thus repelled.